Have you ever had a problem with your partner and suddenly they disappear? No replies, no calls answered. It's like they turned into a ghost overnight. If you've experienced this, you're not alone. And the truth is, there are psychological reasons behind it, reasons that are far more complex than you might think. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Daily Inspiration, a podcast where we talk about psychology, motivation, and inspiration in a relaxed but still science-based way. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our weekly episodes. We talk about topics that are deeply connected to real life. All right, let's get into today's topic. Why do many men choose to disappear instead of talking things through? This behavior is extremely common in romantic relationships, especially when conflict arises. Two psychological terms are often used to describe this pattern: ghosting and stonewalling. Ghosting is when someone suddenly cuts off all communication, no explanation, no closure, just silence. Stonewalling is when someone completely shuts down emotionally during conflict, saying nothing, responding with silence. Research shows that around 33% of men admit they've ghosted someone at least once. That's a surprisingly high number. So why does this happen? Why do some men choose to disappear even though it often makes the situation worse? Fight or flight, a biological response. There's actually a biological explanation behind this. It's called the fight or flight response, a survival mechanism that has existed since ancient times. When the brain perceives danger or emotional stress, it automatically chooses between fighting the threat or escaping from it. Interestingly, studies from the University of Southern California found that when under stress, men tend to withdraw socially, while women are more likely to seek emotional support. So when conflict happens, many men's brains naturally choose flight, stepping away first to reduce emotional overload. Hormones also play a role. Stress affects testosterone levels, which can leave men feeling emotionally overwhelmed. This is why many men retreat into what's often called a man cave, a space of silence meant to calm their nervous system. Social pressure and toxic masculinity. But biology isn't the only factor. There's also social conditioning, often referred to as toxic masculinity. From a young age, many men are taught that men must be strong, men shouldn't cry, men shouldn't show vulnerability. Phrases like "man up" or "boys don't cry" leave a deep psychological mark. As a result, many men grow up without learning how to express emotions in a healthy way. Psychologist Iswan Bella Prasada explains that men raised under toxic masculinity often live according to others' expectations. They suppress emotions and struggle to communicate their inner thoughts. So when conflict appears, disappearing becomes more clear, not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to communicate without feeling weak. Avoidant attachment and conflict avoidance. Another psychological factor is avoidant personality or avoidant attachment. People with this pattern tend to avoid emotional closeness, fear confrontation, and withdraw when conflict arises. This often develops from early experiences of rejection, especially during childhood. For them, disappearing feels safer than explaining. Direct confrontation requires emotional skills they don't believe they have. Stonewalling also fits here, building a wall of silence and hoping the problem resolves itself. Unfortunately, stonewalling is considered one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse in relationship psychology. Behaviors that can slowly destroy a relationship. Fear of emotional consequences. Many men are deeply afraid of the emotional fallout of confrontation. They fear making their partner cry, triggering anger, being labeled the bad guy. So instead of risking emotional damage, they choose to do nothing. Ironically, research shows that avoiding conflict actually increases anxiety over time. The more conflict is avoided, the stronger the fear becomes. This creates a vicious cycle. Avoidance feeds anxiety, and anxiety feeds more avoidance. The emotional impact of ghosting. Although disappearing may feel like the easiest option, the damage it causes is significant. For the partner being ghosted, it can lead to feelings of rejection, self-blame, low self-esteem, anxiety. In repeated cases, it can even increase the risk of serious mental health issues. Meanwhile, ghosters themselves often feel guilty. Studies show many feel ashamed for choosing the easy way out, and this guilt can follow them into future relationships. Healthier ways to handle conflict. So, what's the healthier alternative? First, we need to normalize the idea that men are allowed to feel. Men can talk about emotions, ask for help, feel confused, cry. This isn't weakness, it's emotional maturity. If you need time to cool down, that's okay, but communicate it clearly. For example, I need some time to think and calm down. Can we talk about this later? Silence without explanation causes pain. Space with communication creates safety. To manage conflict anxiety, techniques from cognitive behavioral therapy can help, starting with small, manageable conversations and gradually building confidence. Understanding both sides. It's important to remember, disappearing doesn't always mean someone doesn't care. Often it reflects past trauma, poor emotional education, fear of vulnerability. If you're on the receiving end, don't automatically blame yourself. This behavior is about communication patterns, not your worth. Give space if needed, but clearly communicate that you're open to talking. If this pattern keeps repeating with no improvement, seeking couples therapy or professional help can be a powerful step, because healthy communication is the foundation of every strong relationship. Closing. So today we learned that when men disappear during conflict, it's rarely simple. It can involve biology, social pressure, emotional conditioning, and past experiences. But one thing is clear. Ghosting and stonewalling are not healthy solutions. Honest, respectful communication remains the key. If you or your partner struggle with this, seeking professional help is not a failure, it's a sign of growth. What do you think? Have you experienced something like this, or do you have a different perspective? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Daily Inspiration for more psychology-based content. Thank you for listening. Take care of your mental health, and I'll see you in the next episode.